Hey guys, it's me, Andrew Markowitz again. The reason why you guys haven't seen videos from me in a little bit is because I'm working on some longer form ones, and since I work full time, I kind of have to choose between doing and working on the longer form videos or doing short form videos. I don't have time to dedicate towards both. I just don't. Between everything else that I'm doing with my life and other stuff that I have to get done in my life, I don't have time. It sucks, but I am looking forward to both of those videos. For an example, that first video that I produced was about 20 hours worth of work. Was that 15-minute Charlie Kirk video. Not impressive for 20 hours, I'll be honest with you. I know that. My editing skills aren't great. It takes me a long time to think of content and really plan things out, but I do my best and I really do try. So that's kind of what I'm doing and why it's taking so long to get videos out. The next ones that should be coming out for those videos, which I will be trying to do short form videos in between as I see things arise that catch my interest and I want to speak about. Those videos coming out are about an hour a piece, so as you can imagine, they're taking quite a while to produce. I've been working on it for like 2 weeks now, on and off, when I've been either doing short form videos or long form or working on the long form videos. So, with that aside, this spooky video came into my feed this morning. I watched a little bit of it. And, well, history repeats itself, and I really think it's a good listen. And I would happily like you guys to listen to my commentary as this guy talks about it. Because, oh my gosh, does this currently apply in the modern day?
The communist regimes of the 20th century were among the deadliest entities in human history. Tens of millions of people lost their lives as a result of these regimes.
Oh yeah, not only tens of millions, these regimes killed more people than every single religious war combined. Every single war over religion and stuff like that is nothing compared to what these regimes put down. Nothing. They don't hold a candle. So, let's keep watching, shall we?
Who unleashed devastation in almost every corner of the globe. Many of these crimes meet the definition of genocide. Genocide is any attempt to destroy, in whole or in part, a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group in a variety of ways, including but not limited to the murder of the group's members, destroying its families, and creating conditions designed to bring about a group's destruction. Multiple communist regimes pursued genocidal policy against those who dared to oppose their revolution. In this video, we'll expose the 5-step playbook for how communists pursued these genocides.
So I'm going to let him do the definition of this.
The first step in any genocide is to identify the victims. Communist regimes based their persecution mainly on ideology. Their enemies were defined chiefly as class enemies, marked out from the working class by their alleged wealth and...
So they're identifying their enemies, right? They're creating and marking you with a label. Currently, the left in America is identifying people with the label of MAGA and Nazi. That is the labels on which they condemn you and label you. I want to keep that in mind. The right is going with the broad term of leftist. But one of these people was rioting in the streets in massive parties. The other one, not so much, because I guarantee you it would be all over national news if there were these riots. We saw that when Charlottesville happened all those years ago. How many years ago was that? That was like the start of Trump's first presidency, so like over a decade ago at this point, I think. So yeah. we'll skip into this a little bit.
Working against the revolution, the communists claimed. The long list of enemies of the people drawn up by the Bolsheviks upon seizing power in Russia demonstrates the many ways communists designated people for destruction.
So the part that I skipped here, and I'm going to have to skip around because I am on short time, is basically what the Bolsheviks did is they made a giant list, and their list basically included if you were a current military general in charge, you're on the list. If you were a national religious leader, you were on the list. If you were a landowner or a property owner of any major kind, you were on the list. And that list basically let them go give you a giant middle finger and kick your door down and take you away. Now let's see if I can find it. Here it is.
Marched crying children to mass graves, the communists claimed they were doing their part to rid the world of bourgeois tyranny.
Yep, that's their claim. They're purifying the world, right, of this great evil of the bourgeoisie, of the problematic people, of the people who won't surrender to the idea of communism. So we must purge them, right? That's what they're doing. And it's horrifying.
After identifying which groups had to be targeted, the next step was to isolate them in preparation for persecution. Communist regimes cast themselves as being the will of the people. Therefore, any victim of genocide had to be separated from the people first.
Wow.
This could be done physically, with deportation and exile for the victims, and rhetorically, by producing propaganda that defined the victims identified in.
So it's so interesting that people know that the Nazis did this, and then people pretend like the communists all over the world, every communist country, did the exact same thing. The same thing that the Nazis did of isolating a group and separating them from society, they did. And as it stands right now, that's what the left is doing in America. By labeling you Nazis, by labeling you the MAGA cult, by labeling Trump a tyrant and a king and all of these other things, they are separating you, and they are trying to create this separation between you and the rest of society, so that way it doesn't look as bad when they slaughter you. It is creating a social purview in which it is okay to massacre.
Step 1 as the other. Labels like enemy of the people and class traitor signaled that the targets were not part of the communist revolution, and therefore not of the people. If they weren't part of the people, then they didn't need to be treated like people either. A typical example was seen in Laos with the Hmong genocide.
Oh yeah, this was so
the Hmong were a minority.
I know somebody who basically watched this going down firsthand at the time it was going on, and it was a horror show. This is the only way I can kindly describe it. It was a horror show.
Minority group in the country who had mostly converted to Christianity during the period of French colonialism. During the long Laotian Civil War, many Hmong took up arms to fight the communists, fearing that a communist regime would persecute them for their faith. After the Pathet Lao communist regime seized power in 1975, that's exactly what happened. The new
Wow, big shocker. Soviet Union's action in Ukraine. So this is actually going in the landowners bit, and I think this is actually a pretty good bit to go into. So we'll watch a bit of this.
In Ukraine as an example. Not only did Ukraine have an emerging nationalist movement that wanted to be free of Soviet control, but it was also home to around 71,000 families classed as kulaks. Kulaks were the total liquidation of the kulaks as a class.
Yeah,
So began the formal organization of the genocide. Soviet authorities sorted the kulaks into 3 classes and planned the actions to be taken against each group. Category 1 were the kulaks guilty of actual counter-revolutionary activity and would be sent to gulags or or shot. Those who did not resist but did not show
Class 1, fascinating.
loyalty to the communist regime were Category 2. They'd be deported and have their property confiscated. Lastly, Category 3 were those who were loyal to the
This is what they want you to turn into. You're still Class 3. So, interestingly enough, you're still Class 3. So watch what happens to Class 3 here. This is what they want everyone on the right to just submit to being. They're content, not okay with, not happy with, they're content with you being Class 3. But again, we've already gone through Step 1 and Step 2. You're isolated from the group, you're no longer a part of the people, and you're no longer a part of the group. And we already went through Step 1, which is identifying who the problem children are.
The regime and would just be deported. Such plans required the cooperation of many arms of the state. The Soviet secret police would need to draw up the names of the more resistant kulaks in Category 1. Meanwhile, local activists would be dispatched to draw up lists of Category 2.
Yeah, so literally in America right now, this is so spooky because this is what they're trying to do. Is they're trying to do this right now with people who are in ICE, with people who are in government office. If you are a walking foot soldier, they want you to have to wear your name, and they want you to not be able to wear a mask. And this is the same party that was heavily promoting masks and all the other things during COVID because of this shit. And it's spooky. And we can go down into the comments section. First comment right here. Please notice how commies in the United States frequently call all white men oppressors. That's a good response, by the way, down here. Because, fun fact, the part that he's skipping over is all of these people, all of these groups were forced to hand over their guns. And it was illegal to have firearms in every one of these countries before they went through with the rest of these steps. Yep. It's as this guy says, I love how enemies of the people is an intentionally vague and flexible term. Slap it on whoever is convenient, and boom, chain reaction begins. This one's a great one and it's super true. Publicly posting names of the enemies of the revolution is today's doxing. This is also very true as well. Genocide is the very Marxist theory itself. In his book, he literally says it just says to destroy the nation, destroy the family. And the reason why they have to is because Karl Marx, in his book, recognizes that his dream is unachievable in the current situation and setup. So, yeah, it's a horror show. I might do a part 2 to this video depending on how this one does, but this is currently what the left in America is doing, and I'm just going to say it outright, and it's terrifying to watch it happen, because this is what they're slowly trying to roll out and set up, and they're being quiet with it. And thank God we have such a strong democracy. Thank God we have such a strong constitution that they can't roll this out that effectively. That's going to be it for this video. I'll probably be doing a part 2 tonight when I get back. But that'll be it. Thank you guys. Like, subscribe. Catch you all later.